All right, going on, guys. Let's take a look at in terms of Facebook. Uh, Last week it had a big earning report, right? Earning numbers were actually okay, but in terms of the reaction was actually pretty terrible. So definitely want to take a look at the monthly chart first to see if where this Facebook stock has been, where it's has been going, right? Overall, if you just draw a line, right? So big picture trend on a monthly uh, is is on the upside. Now, the only indication that we have to see is has the stock been up too much, right? Uh, from $40 to $220, that's a pretty big move, right? Now at this point of time, on the monthly, the trend is still up. If you look at this, so this is a Guppy moving averages, which is a long-term time frames. These are shorter-term time frames. So on the longer-term time frames, it still looks pretty bullish, right? If you look on, say, a 3-year weekly chart, right? So what we really want to see is if this stock is actually bearish, if this stock, which is things are actually getting where long-term investors. I'm not talking about so these green lines, the short-term investors, the red line on here, the long-term investors. If these long-term investors, if they actually do not like the stock, right? They do not like the stock, then these moving averages should actually contract. When they do contract, which means there's people actually selling and for it to actually turn down, right? So what we are seeing right now is really long term is on the bullish side, but if you look on the even on the weekly side, right? These moving averages are pretty fair apart, which means that there's still a lot of buyers sitting in here. And if you look on this region, right? This is a region where the stock has been for a while. There's have been a lot of fighting, right? I mean, it was a resistance, then became support. Now it looks like it became a support again, right? So a couple of things that can happen in this stock. I want to be on both sides again, right? First is the long-term moving averages really try to contract and maybe you start rolling over. That would be a sign that long-term investors do not want this stock anymore. But if you take a look at, hey, you know what? Whenever this stock actually goes under these moving averages, the long-term time frame, right? The long-term time frame that we are looking at is still pretty bullish over here, right? For example, in this situation, when something like this happened, even though the short-term moving averages contracted, the long-term were still steady on the upside. If you take a look on same thing over here, right? People who would have panicked down here, try to sell it. The long-term investors, if you look at the space between the long-term moving averages, still pretty good. There's really no panic between long-term investors. Same thing we see over here, right? There's a lot of buyers still holding onto the stock. Similarly, if you see down here, right, when there is a big drop down out here, these moving averages, they try to contract, but they didn't really contract, right? They actually expanded, and now you're seeing this region being tested again. So a few key things that you can see on Facebook really is the stock can do one of two things, right? Um, so just zoom this out over here. So if you look in the weekly chart, first thing that can happen is we get a panic down move, and then we try to go up, but it doesn't hold up, and then we start getting the other down move, right? That would show me that it is a bearish situation, right? If it tries to go down, bounces, everybody gets caught up and it gets flushed out, right? So that's one thing that you can potentially see to happen. That's if your bet is on the downside. What I If you're on the bullish side, what you would like to see? What you would like to see is, you know what, this is a giant pattern on Head and Shoulders reversal pattern. So you want to start to try to do a bounce, and actually you want it to actually flush down. You want it to flush down between below these levels, go down to 100, maybe even test around $60 level or something, and then it makes this the smaller moves, right? Before it actually starts making its actual move start turning up, right? Now that is something which, if you are bullish, that's what you want to see. If you're bearish, so you be on the both sides, on the long and the short side of what kind of scenario you want to see. But if you want to be long, I would like it to bounce, have a flush down under all these levels, so everybody who was long gets flushed out, and then it starts making a move similar to the SPY, which we have been seeing right now, right? So if you look at SPYs, similar structure on the weekly side, right? You see this gigantic down move. It has a bounce, and then um, everybody who was buying the support, they got flushed down, and then it makes this move, and now it's starting to trend up, right? So that's what I would like to see on Facebook as well. So going on the stock again, this is the best case scenario if you are bullish on the stock. I would really like this to actually flush down and try to buy these levels and wait for it to have this panic move to the upside. Yeah, so that's my take on Facebook. So be ready for on both sides, depending if you want to go long or short. But that's my analysis. And any questions, feel free to like and subscribe to the video. It's gonna keep me more motivated to make more videos for you guys. Have a good one.